What's going on, y'all? Welcome to the Triple Z podcast. I'm your host, Isaiah Henry. We have two of the greatest words in sports. Game 7, the Boston Celtics defeat Miami Heat in Game 6 and force a Game 7 back in the TD Garden. Boston Celtics become the fourth team in NBA history to tie a series 3-3 after being down 0-3. But Boston has something working in their favor. They would have Game 7 back on their home court, and hopefully they use that to their advantage. This matchup between the Heat and Boston shows a full display of what playoff basketball is really about. The stakes are high, the arena's full of energy, and players honestly have to play as if it's their last game ever. For a game where Miami's two best players, Bam Adebayo, Jimmy Butler, shot a combined 9 of 37 from the field, you would honestly think Boston will have it in the bag. They'll win by double digits, and Game 7 is automatic already. But what really kept Miami in this game, I think people have been hearing it all throughout this series. These undrafted players that Miami have, they're really legit. Duncan Robinson is legit. Martin is legit. Vincent is legit. Strauss is legit. All those players play to the best of their ability and honestly gave Miami a fighting chance. And they did so much to a certain point where Jimmy Butler in that fourth quarter really started to get into a rhythm and into a flow to help Miami, gain the lead and honestly help Miami to win the game overall. But for Miami, Jimmy Butler just has to play better. We're putting Jimmy Butler in this atmosphere of being the top 10 best players. Is he a superstar? He's putting on a great playoff performance. It's probably historic. If we're going to put him in that caliber, he has to play to that caliber. For Miami, man, they really thought they had it in the bag. I thought they did too. I'm not going to lie to you. I really thought they had it in the bag because Duncan Robinson, he hit some threes where it's like that can change the momentum of the game, honestly. Miami was down by 10 points. And then Duncan Robinson hit like 2 threes where he brought Miami within a 1-game possession. So that could have went either way for both teams. For Boston, though, I thought it was going to be another game they couldn't close out. Boston throughout the season had multiple games where they couldn't close out. Tatum didn't finish down the stretch. Jaylen Brown's kind of faded away a little bit into the corner. I feel like he has the mindset of if I get the ball, I get the ball, but if I don't, that's fine. For Boston, though, they shot 7 of 35 from 3. In Game 4 and 5, they shot 40+%. Tatum scored 25 in the first half. In the second half, he scored 6. They started sending Jimmy Butler to the free throw line, letting him get into a rhythm. And Boston defensively, this team is known, for putting up a lot of threes and for locking in defensively because they have so many defenders, perimeter defenders, that they can throw at your best players on a daily basis. But there was a lot of miscommunications defensively from the Boston Celtics. For instance, those 2 Duncan Robinson's threes where he was wide open. I think the first one was off a Jimmy Butler miss. Martin got the rebound, passed it out to Duncan Robinson. He was wide open. No one contested it. No one looked to run at him. No one looked to contest it. No one. He was wide open. And as Miami's best three-point shooter, you're comfortable with Duncan Robinson shooting that shot. Ultimately, he missed. And at that point, I'm thinking, all right, Boston, you got blessed with that miss, honestly. Because if he made that 3, momentum in that arena would have changed going forward. Honestly, if he would have made those threes that he missed, momentum would have definitely changed because the second one was off I forgot who missed. I believe it was Derek White off a floater. Miami gets the rebound, gets out in transition. No one looks to stop Duncan Robinson in transition. He got up another 3. He ultimately missed it. I think if he hits one of those 2 threes, momentum changes the entire game and is going towards Miami. If he makes one of them, just one of them, he had 2 wide open looks. The only time you're that open is if you're in a 3-point contest. He couldn't be more wide open, and he missed both of them. So I think if he hits one of those, momentum is definitely going towards Miami. A play that stood out to me, though, and it was interesting, when Al Horford fouled Jimmy Butler on the 3-point line. Like, obviously, we knew it was a foul, but I was very confused on why Boston challenged it. I'm like, you just wasted a challenge. You just wasted a timeout. Like, what? Like, it's a foul. You saw Al Horford foul him. Obviously, Jimmy Butler got 3 free throws. But then when you challenge a foul, the referees obviously have to go to the scores board, review it. But then the referees also get another chance just to look at the clock. If you notice, when he fouled Jimmy Butler, it was at 2.1. After they reviewed it, obviously Boston didn't get the challenge. The clock went from 2.1 to 3 seconds. I don't think a lot of people noticed that. And then you always got the trolls of like, oh, the NBA's scripted, the NBA's rigged. Look how they changed from 2.1 to 3 seconds. The referees obviously had another opportunity to look at the clock and get the clock right for the game to continue on. But honestly, I didn't know what was going to happen with 3 seconds left because obviously for Miami, they were trying to deny Jason Tatum the ball, which they did. I think Jimmy Butler was on him, and then they had Strus deny Jason Tatum getting the ball, meaning that the inbounder, Derek White's wide open because as soon as they inbounded the ball to Marcus Smart, Marcus Smart flashed the ball, got the ball. I honestly thought he put up the shot way too early. He just shot it really quick. And I don't understand. Marcus Smart takes a lot of like the last second shots. He took like 2 of them in the 76ers game, and he took this one fairly quickly in Miami. But obviously, we know that he missed. It kind of rimmed in and out. Derek White is on the corner. He's in the far corner. And he sees the ball goes up, and he's probably thinking to himself, no one's guarding me because Strus had to deny Jason Tatum the ball. So I'm going to run and try to get an offensive rebound. And as we know, he tipped it in and was able to help Boston force a Game 7. And then when he put it up and the ball went in, I was like, did he get it off in time? And a small part of me was thinking, like, I really hope he did because I would like a Game 7, honestly. And then after you see the review, he got it off with like 0.2 seconds left. And it's like, you couldn't ask for a better ending, honestly. Because that's what the playoffs is about. It's about being intense. It's about not knowing what's going to happen in a playoff game at all. No one knew that Derek White was going to get that offensive rebound, put the ball back up. No one knew that. For Miami, too, because they really thought they had it in the bag. They're literally 1 game away from the NBA Finals. They haven't been to the NBA Finals since 2014. And that's the interesting thing with both teams. They have one goal in common. Get one more win. Miami needs one more win to go to the finals. Boston needs one more win to force a Game 7. It's crazy because I'm not putting no parlays. I can tell you that right now because I genuinely don't know who's going to win Game 7. Anything can happen. It's just fascinating to me. That game was probably one of the best playoff games we've seen in a while, especially those last 3 minutes because Boston was up by 13 and ultimately Miami got a 1-point lead. And I know people are going to remember Game 6 being a wild ending because Derek White got the buzzer beater, but what I'm going to remember specifically from Game 6, Duncan Robinson missing 2 wide open threes that could have tied it and taken the lead. Marcus Smart missing the first free throw. Al Horford fouling Jimmy Butler. And something that stood out to me on that play where Jimmy Butler got fouled, he double dribbled too. Like, I don't understand how the referees can miss that at all. Like, you had to go back to the scoreboard to review the play, and you miss an obvious double dribble. I don't understand that. But those are the plays that stood out to me. The 2 wide open threes from Duncan Robinson missed. Al Horford fouling Jimmy Butler. Marcus Smart missing the free throw. Ultimately, Derek White saving, honestly, Boston's season. Those are the only plays I'm really going to remember. Because if Miami doesn't close out Boston in Game 7, I feel like all that Jimmy Butler talk about him being top 10 and all that stuff, and being a superstar, I feel like that talk kind of dwindles down a little bit. Just a little bit. Since Game 4, he's basically been guaranteeing we're going to win the next game. We're going to win the next game. We're going to win the next game. And has not, played to a standard of winning the next game. He didn't play great in Game 6. He didn't play great in Game 5. Like, what are we really doing here? What are you really guaranteeing? Miami's hopes up, but then you're not performing to the ability we know you're capable of performing. And also with Bam, 11 points and 13 rebounds isn't going to get the job done. As the second best player on the Miami team, you have to play much better. We all know Bam is a defensive player, really. He needs to get it going more offensively. Somewhere from like 20 to 23 points. And I truly do think he's capable of that. But if you're not going to be able to do that and help Jimmy Butler, get over the edge, Miami's in for a tough awakening, really and truly. Because Boston, they just have so many plays they can rely on. But like, especially if Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown doesn't have it going, you can rely on Marcus Smart. You can rely on Derek White. You can rely on Michael Brogdon. You can rely on all these guys to make game-winning plays. Hence what Derek White did. But for Miami, it's like, I always say your role players have to win you a game or two. Your role and your bench players have to win you a playoff game. Whether it's game 1, 2, 5, 7, it doesn't matter. They have to win you a game or two. But if Jimmy Butler doesn't have a great game, it's supposed to be like Bam stepping up. Can Bam get you 30 points and a win if Jimmy Butler doesn't have it going? I have no idea. I truly don't think so. I truly don't think so. He hasn't had an outstanding performance to me in this series. Where it's like, damn, Bam, we be talking about Bam being one of the best centers, power forwards in the league? I don't know. But Game 7 is later tonight on TNT. I'll be locked in for that. Hopefully you guys enjoy the content. More content is coming soon. And that's all we got for today. Thank you for listening to Triple Z Podcast.